Welcome back to Big Little Lessons. I'm Kristine and I'm here with my longtime teaching partner and friend, Jenny. We've spent 17 years teaching kindergarten together and we're still learning new lessons every day.
It's so nice to see you, Kristine. So today, as the holidays approach, and they're quickly approaching, we're talking about something that feels both comforting and complicated. Holidays and traditions. The ones we grew up with, the ones we've created, and the ones that sometimes quietly fade away. All right, so Kristine, let's just get started. So we finished Halloween a couple of weeks ago. We're getting into the next busy part of the season. How are you feeling today about holidays and traditions?
Well, deep sigh.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of ironic because I love holidays and I love traditions, but isn't it so that right as it's in front of us, it can feel really daunting and overwhelming, even though it's exciting.
Yes.
There's a little bit of dread woven into that excitement. I mean, I hate to say that. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but am I wrong?
No, I went to a candle making class and here it is. It's all pumpkin, spicy, cinnamon, cloves. And I'm like, I am already thinking of January. I'm like, so I named my candle Fresh Start and I use fresh basil and apples. I'm already ready for January. So
I love Fresh Start. We just want to fast forward, but we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that. So today we're going to explore why traditions matter for both children and for us, because they really do matter, and how we can hold on to the ones that still fit for us.
Yep.
And also to think about how to gently let go or reimagine the ones that are not serving us any longer, right?
Yes, I feel like because we've been teachers for a long time, we've been moms for decades now. It feels like we have a lot to say about holidays and traditions. So
I think so.
It's always evolving, and that's the good news. And you have a choice to reevaluate as we go along. Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Oh, no, me too. So let's start with that first point. Traditions create security and belonging. And we know that. We know it from the classroom that children thrive on routines they can count on. You know, it's in the classroom or at home. Routines really help. Having some predictability in their lives, they bring comfort and helps them feel part of something larger than themselves. Like in the classroom, we love to have rituals. We have our little morning song. It helps we're starting our school day. When we celebrate a birthday, you know, I get nervous playing the piano, but I could play that birthday song. I could play it on the piano.
You did a great job.
You're very kind.
No, and it's true. I think in our school in particular, we really take pride in traditions, right?
Yeah, yes.
Our school is quite old. It's been around for many years, 80 years. And we love to look forward to what has come before them. The children sing, "Oh, what a beautiful morning," to the whole elementary school. And we practice at the beginning a clip of Oklahoma, and we teach them the song. And when they stand up and sing, it's so exciting because their siblings and the children that are older than them, we say to them, "Who remembers singing this song?" And everybody remembers. The kindergartners get so many compliments from the older students. And it's just such a wonderful experience for them.
They like it so much that we always sing it 2 times.
We do.
Both times they get a standing ovation, which makes everybody feel good.
I love it.
But it's a beautiful song from Oklahoma. So thank you for that wonderful song. Oh, what a beautiful morning. I know at home, we have the same things. We have these familiar routines like baking cookies each December or making special foods. You like to make special foods for the holidays.
Yeah, I
do.
do. I'm thinking also of just like the people in our community who make special foods. Like there's people that make tamales. I'm thinking of our principal who every year makes trendy trash and brings it in, puts it in the faculty room, and we eat way too much of it.
Yeah, I would say they have different names like reindeer chow or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but it's Chex cereal, peanuts, pretzel sticks,
and then convecture sugar, sugar.
So you melt chocolate, you put it all in a paper bag, and then dump a bunch of powdered sugar. The warm melted chocolate pulls everything together, and then the confection powder just brings it to the next level. So, yes, we eat that every year in the faculty lounge and we eat it all day long and it's delicious.
It is.
Yeah.
But those little rhythms, I think, are so essential, right?
Do you have things that you have really embraced with your family for, so let's just talk about Christmas.
I think about the traditions you grew up with and then how to make them right for you.
Mm.
So I feel like in my family, being Italian, there's always a lot of tradition around food for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about how to create it for my family without the support, because I don't have any family in LA, cooking the things that mattered. So for Christmas Eve, we do a huge Christmas Eve dinner. We have to cook 7 fishes because it's the 7 sacraments in the Catholic religion. So that's what the fish represent. So coming up with unique and interesting food that everyone's going to eat, but that's also in line with the tradition has been a challenge, but something that I've really loved. I've really loved that. Keeping that Christmas Eve dinner for me has been invaluable.
I know for our family, we're not quite the cooks that you are, but Christmas traditions has always been we go to church service for sure. We find churches that have a candlelight song to Silent Night. And there's something very magical at nighttime to be at a church service where they light the candles and we sing Silent Night as a congregation is one that we all cherish. And so it's fun. It's fun. We know we're going to find a church, whether we're in town or out of town, we're going to find a church that has a nighttime service where we get to do the silent.
So you continue to have that tradition even though you don't belong to the same church.
Yes, but it's a really grounding way to honor what does Christmas mean to our family, which for our family, it's about celebrating the birth of Jesus. It's one of those things that's really important that we hang on to.
I love that.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay, we have a lot of things going on. Things are changing all the time. And the traditions do help us. Like I was saying, with your cooking, the Christmas Eve dinner, and for us going to church, they help us to slow down. We're going to parties and activities and hustles and bustles. But at the end of the day, we know we're going to have a time to help us ground and recognize what truly matters, our family, our faith, our friendships, and gratitude.
I think that's so important. And even though, like you said, the hustle and bustle and all the other things that can seem stressful, there is always a moment where you just are like, oh, this is really wonderful.
This holiday means to me. And
I
so,
love that.
yeah, that's
So
good.
there's lots of meaning. There's lots of meaning there.
Absolutely.
And also building identity, you know, as children grow and connection. So these are the stories that are lived out again and again for our kids. They become a part of who we are and where we came
Yes.
from, whether it be your heritage or just the traditions that you've created. So like in the classroom, shared celebrations, they help children see themselves as part of a larger community. You know,
I mean, one of the very first things we do is we get to know our families. And we love when families fill in the blank and we're like, would you
Yeah.
like to come in and talk about it with our
Yeah.
class? And it's so enjoyable to hear a family or families come together to discuss their family's traditions.
We
I
have
mean-
celebrated, you know, Diwali,
Oh, yes.
Mardi Gras, Kwanzaa, Ramadan,
Yeah, Hanukkah,
Hanukkah,
Lunar New Year.
Lunar New Year. That's a great one.
There's so many good ones. And so when families say, in our culture, our family, we're like, let's sign you up, let's get you in. And it's really a joy to learn about everyone's families.
Well, I think
great.
it's so cute because the kids always say, I don't celebrate that.
Yes.
And then we say, isn't it wonderful that we can learn about all these different cultures? It adds beauty to our classroom.
It really does. That's one of the gifts of being in a classroom with a classroom of 20 to 25 students. You really get to see and learn about so many people. And then we have things that we do together that we all love. Like every holiday season, we do a grade level ornament. And you want to talk about that, Kristine?
Well, in kindergarten, we have these little gingerbread ornaments, but you know, as our children, and then each year they change the ornament. And at our school, they use the ornaments to decorate the campus. And right before the holiday, you get to take home your ornament. And it's so sweet because every year when I open up my ornaments, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not like you forgot, but you did kind of forget. And then you look at your kids and their sweet little faces and their different ornaments that they made throughout elementary school. And it's just, I love that.
Yes. So like in kindergarten at our school, it's little gingerbread cutouts. And
Right.
then in first grade, is it the little cup of hot chocolate?
Yeah, it has
It's all
changed over the
it's
years.
all like
Yeah.
Michael's Hobby Lobby, Oriental Trading Company kind of cut and paste hot glue stick, but they're
There's a
really
pine
cute.
cone one that's
Oh
really
yes.
cute.
The
Yeah.
snow globe one,
Yellow Cove
a
one.
little Christmas tree one, but it's like magic because these wonderful parents that come on campus right before Thanksgiving.
Right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like
Right after Thanksgiving break, they come to
yes.
campus and they spend, I don't know, 2 days decorating, and
They
they do
put
a
out
phenomenal
trees.
job.
So
Yep.
there's a kindergarten tree, a first grade tree, all the way up to sixth grade tree, and they
Yeah.
line the walkways. And then we get to spend 3 or 4 weeks telling kids, look with your eyes, not with your hands. Leave the ornaments alone.
But you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about like the current kindergarten families that are new to our school don't know what gift they will be given.
No.
They'll see this gift, but then they won't realize that they'll have this amazing collection, which is a tradition until it unfolds.
Yes, I know. I still have my girls' ornaments, and
Same.
they're hanging on by a little string of glue stick, and they're kind of lopsided, but you know what? I cherish them. They're beautiful.
Cherish.
Yes. So, at home, there's those family traditions that link our generations together. So, whether it's passing down grandma's recipe or retelling favorite family stories or decorating the house the same way, they help root our children and quite honestly, all of us in our belonging.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah, I mean, you and I both talked to our kids this past week about traditions and holidays that they loved. One of my daughters said, I remember this red plate. So it's a red plate and it says, you are special today. I think it's from Sweden. It's a red plate with the white lettering. But whenever someone had a birthday, or maybe they lost their tooth, or there was just some good news, we'd pull down that red special plate, and that's what they'd have dinner on. And it was great. You could throw it in the dishwasher and have it ready to go for the next celebration, but it was something simple. What
I
about you,
love that.
Kristine? Did you have
You know,
something?
well, I know I spoke about cooking Christmas Eve dinner, but one of the things that was so super important to me in terms of linking our generations, my grandmother was such an amazing cook, and she was the one who was responsible for the Christmas Eve dinner. And as a little girl growing up, I really paid close attention to all the dishes on the plate, all the dishes that she made. And so, besides modernizing some of the food, it's been really important for me to recreate the food from my childhood. So, I've worked really hard to do that, like baked clams or
Oh.
traditional Italian things that were always a part of our meal.
What was
So,
your grandma like when you'd watch her preparing these dishes? Was she in a good mood? Did she have wear an apron? I'm trying to
she
picture.
always had a house coat on and an apron, and she made it seem so easy. She did everything so seamlessly. I loved that because I feel like that's the way I cook. Nothing stresses me out in the kitchen. It's just like, this is what we're doing.
I'm cracking up. That's what I picture. I just picture someone very at ease and go with the flow. And that's
Yeah,
how I've seen you,
yeah.
both in your house and at school, which is
But also,
lovely.
like, it's so important. What you're doing, what you're creating is bringing your family together, and you want
Uh-huh.
everybody to enjoy it because everybody says when you cook with love, you're sharing love, and
Yes.
people can taste it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I know. Well,
So, and
okay, let's get back on track. Okay.
yeah,
So
sorry,
what's our
sorry, sorry.
next part? What's our next point?
So traditions become anchors of joy and memory. I actually love this one because
Mm.
I think that's one of the biggest things we think of and over again become those moments we remember for our lifetime. So it could be at home or in the classroom, but children for sure carry these forever.
Mhm.
So in the classroom, when I think about these memories, I think about the way children experience the world through their senses.
Mhm.
So what they remember, because I know we've had these conversations before, and when we're talking about ourselves as children and the big memories are always relating to our senses, right? So the holiday performance, singing together, the songs, the smells, like we have a pancake breakfast every year. We watch Charlie Brown's Christmas every year. We put on the smart board a picture of the Yule log, with the fire. And I'm like, oh, isn't it so warm in our classroom?
I know sometimes it's like 80 degrees. It's like, oh, it's cold, everybody. We have to make up a
Aren't you so
fire.
cozy? Are you so cozy? Those are our traditions that Jenny and I have created over the years.
Yeah.
But there's so many different traditions that you might have. But the moments really remind children that it's a joyful moment and being together is so much fun.
Oh, it's so fun.
And
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like at home, we went camping every single year.
Who
From the
did?
time my family, from the
Okay.
time the boys were little, in preschool, we started camping and we camped with their dad when we were still a family together. Then I camped alone with them. And then when I met Don, lucky me, he was a huge camper.
Aw.
And so we continued this amazing tradition of camping. And when I had these conversations with the kids this last week and asked them what were their memories, camping was definitely high on the list because it evolved too. Like we started simple, our family grew, we would invite friends. I mean, it was just so much fun. And, as we've gotten older and our families have sort of gotten busier, we haven't done it in a long time, but real fond memories of camping
Were
over the
you
years.
camping in tents or a camper or what was the
So we're pretty hardcore campers. I mean, we
Oh.
pretty, we actually have a camper and we have gone camping in the camper, which is also so much fun. But a lot of tent camping, but we have pretty outstanding equipment. So it's really comfortable tent camping.
No, I mean it's all about comfort. And I've heard, I have not done the camper camping in a long time. I did when I was a kid for just a couple of times, and my mom's all not for me. So we didn't continue. But the food tastes so much better when you're camping. Would you agree with that?
Delicious. And that's another thing, just figuring out your menu and what you're going to serve everyone. And
It's so fun.
I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's so much fun when you look back upon it, and
right.
and when the kids could say, remember when we did this and remember when we did that. And I just love that.
It's
I
so
love
fun.
that. I love that they have those memories and I have them too, but I was an adult making them for the first time for the kids. Like I didn't go camping growing up, but my kids went camping growing up.
So you evolved into this new, quite a long time tradition.
For sure.
I know. I think a lot of my joy and memory with my girls and Dave have been with the church. We have this annual women's Christmas tea, and it would be about 1,000 women, and there'd be 100 tables, and you'd sign up to be a host, and you'd decorate it out. It was amazing, and it was always the first Saturday of December. It was a really special time, and so we'd have these great joys and memories. We'd be setting, figuring out what's our theme of our table and who are we going to invite and how's it going to be. And it was so special when we look back on it. It was like, that was really cool to do, these teas. So it's fun and it created a lot of joy.
So cool.
But, with that, these joys can also create a lot of expectations, and especially as a parent or as a teacher, we're trying to be all that and create this joyous traditions, but sometimes it can be a little too much. True story, when the girls were little, I think I was getting ready for the women's Christmas tea, and there was a lot of school stuff going on, and I'm trying to get the house decorated and go shopping for all the gifts and stuff. And I was in a mood. I was just in a mood, and I made some dinner. And all right, everybody else sit down. Let's have dinner because I've got things to do. And I'm like, who wants to say the prayer? And Lindsay was probably 4 or 5. She's like, I will. And I'm like, okay, let's come on. I've got things to do. So we bow our heads and she says a prayer like this. Dear God, thank you for this dinner. And please help my mom because she is totally out of control. And
You turned into the Grinch.
I turned into the Grinch and I had my head down. I looked side-eyed at Dave, and he was kind of had a smirk, and I didn't know whether to laugh or cry because it was so true. I was out of control. So I'm always reminded every year at this time, please don't turn into the Grinch because it's not worth it. And so
Right.
sometimes I've had to reevaluate what I'm doing. But I did get a little Grinch ornament, and I do have that. I do have that out every year because I look at it, I'm like, don't do it. Nobody wants a Grinch.
And here's the thing, we're talking about all these traditions with such, you know, what warm memories, right? But the truth is, as we said at the beginning, this is upon us. You loved these teas, but then when you're entering into having this tea and the responsibility of creating this, it
Wow.
becomes stressful. So let's talk about how to hold on to the traditions that still fit, like the ones that still matter for us, right?
Mhm.
Because as we said, as you grow older, your family changes, your traditions change too. Our children grow up, some of your family members may move away, and definitely our time and our energy shift.
Yes, they do. They
And so,
do.
because of that, some traditions fade away, and that's definitely okay.
Hmm.
But others hold meaning, but they also might look different than they did before, right? So it just might have shifted. And
Yes.
learning to hold on to the ones that still fit is a really, we think about listening to your life and keeping what brings connection, joy, and peace.
I think it's easy to look at and hear what other people are doing. You're like, this is what I've done. This is where I get into trouble. I'll see somebody, they're like, oh, every year we do this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. And then somebody else say, oh, you have to do this. Okay, I want to do that too. And I start getting into this long list, and that's where it becomes too much. And especially with our social media and TV shows and magazines, there's a lot of really good ideas. So learning to reevaluate what is going to work for you. And so the first thing is to notice what still brings joy. So asking myself, I encourage you all to ask yourself, which traditions still make me smile? And which ones feel life-giving instead of exhausting? If it's something that brings me warmth and laughter, gratitude, keep it. It's still
Yep.
serving its purpose.
No, I was thinking about when the kids were little, this was one of the things I asked them for Easter every year.
Mhm.
I would, with candy, make a little trail of candy from their bedrooms to their out into the living room leading up to their Easter baskets. And I also have had the same Easter baskets from the time they were babies that they still have now in their 20s.
Oh,
Although I'm like, no, the Easter Bunny's not coming this year. But
he's hopped over to other
he's
families.
hop- he's hopped away. He moves on after you're 18. But but not always. You know, it depends on the energy because it does make me smile. It
Mhm.
does bring me joy and
Mhm.
gratitude, but it's also a lot of work, and as you get older, it does definitely shift, right?
It,
Not
we
everything has to stay.
Not everything stays. We had a season, both girls, Gracie and Lindsay, loved fairies, loved fairies. There was a whole collection of books, and they were really fun. I cannot think of them at the top of my head, but they were really fun. And they loved the fairies. And it was another mom suggesting maybe the fairies could write our daughters letters. So I started with Lucinda, our fairy, wrote little letters, little notes, and the girls would write the fairies back. And so there was mail going on in between, and they would light up so much getting these letters. And then when from a teacher point of view, they would write letters back so they're practicing their writing skills, and it was
Cute.
so fun. I've actually kept some of those letters and they're very special, but that's what they remembered was the fairy letters. And it would be right outside their bedroom, ready to go in the next morning. They loved it. So that was fun. But then they got older. Then they're like, we want to go to Sephora or we're going to go with our friends to the movies. Forget this fairy stuff.
The
But it is, yeah.
joy has shifted.
But it's interesting because they do love to read books, sci-fi kind of books and imagination and things like that. So that's fun.
Also, let's think about the why. The why, let that guide your tradition. So the heart behind it matters more than the form that it takes.
Hmm.
Not about keeping everything the same. It's
No.
about keeping the spirit. and alive, like what we talked about.
I think that's really true. My dad died 2.5 years ago, and my dad loved to decorate the house for Christmas more so than my mom. She wasn't into it, but she was like, oh, it's such an effort to get the tree out. And so that first year that my dad was gone, she's like, I don't want to decorate my house. I'm like, well, you need to have a little something. She's like, no, I don't. I really don't. She just wasn't in the mood for it. So I said, okay, let's recreate this. And so the first thing is I bought her a stack of Christmas magazines, like Better Homes and Gardens and Martha Stewart with all the Christmas tree. I'm like, you can just flip through these magazine covers and pretend like it's your house. And we got her a wreath for her door and a poinsettia plant. And so we shifted it a little bit and made it a little bit different. And especially that first year. And by last year, she was getting more into it. She still didn't take out the tree, but this year we're on duty. She's ready for her tree back in the house.
Okay.
So we weren't so locked, like we have to have it this way because it's how we've always done it. We reevaluated it every year. And
it's important to be flexible, keeping what's important here, right?
Absolutely.
And you did that for your mom. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, the another thing is also simplifying without losing significance. So sometimes the traditions become heavy. There's a lot that goes into it. Simplifying some of these traditions doesn't mean letting it go. It just means creating some space to actually enjoy them.
Yeah, for sure. Listeners, I hope you're not bored of me talking about my Christmas Eve dinner, but I keep coming back to it.
Never.
Because one year, honestly, it was just Don and I guess his kids were with with their mom, and my kids were with their dad Christmas Eve. So I'm like, we have to have 7 fishes. We have to. It's just something that has to happen. So I made a big stew. I made an Italian stew called cioppino, and I put all the 7 fishes in the stew, and I was like, bam, stew done.
Perfect.
7 fishes done. It was important. It is important to me to continue that tradition. And so there's ways to do that.
Yeah, you don't need to have 7 fish dishes. You just put all that fish in one
Dump
stew.
it in one pot.
There you go. That sounds like my kind of stew. Well, let's get to our third point. How to gently let go, or maybe say reimagine the traditions that no longer serve us.
Right.
So, when we think of our students growing, our families growing and changing and shifting, it can bring on some extra stress and guilt.
For sure.
But sometimes the things that once brought joy now brings a little bit of dread. What used to connect us may feel like forced togetherness. Let's ask ourselves, how can we imagine what we've done in the past?
What was done. So
I know, there's so much.
I think the first point is to be honest about what matters. And it is sort of reinstating what we talked about before. So asking yourself, does this tradition still bring me peace? Does it still bring me joy? Or am I just managing it? Is it time to say goodbye?
It's so true. There are so many times that we're like, this is because what I do every year. Like there was a time I always made these Buckeye candies. It's peanut butter concoctions.
I've had them. They're delicious.
They are delicious. And you dip them in chocolate and they're delicious. But when you make them every single year, and it makes a lot of them, it's very time consuming. It kind of lost its magic. And so I haven't made them for a couple of years. I imagine going back to it at some point, but I needed to put it on the back burner for a little bit. It just wasn't doing all that it used to do. And I think for me this year, it's the decorating. And my 20s, 30s, and 40s, I was always getting things and bringing more into the house. And it becomes such a chore. It's always fun to put the decorations out, but it's putting them away, and 100%, nobody wants to help me. 100%.
It's so stressful. Honestly, some people have said to me, oh, my Christmas is done. And I'm like, what? Oh, no.
So true. It's so true. I think
so how do you reimagine that piece for yourself?
Well, I've been doing this recently. This is something new for me. First of all, I've made it my goal not to buy a single new Christmas decoration. I don't need anything. I'm almost 59. You're almost 59 too. We have birthdays coming up.
We are.
But I don't want to buy any more. And instead, I am going to really enjoy the shops. I was at some stores this past week. They had their Christmas decorations out. I complimented them. I said, "You've gone above and beyond. Your decorations are amazing." And I walked around the store and I just pretended like they were at my house. And then I went home.
You really
So,
can enjoy them without
yes.
it. Yeah, it is a chore, especially when it falls on your shoulders to take everything out and put everything away.
Yes.
Yeah.
I felt like there was all these things that you have to do. And it was my creating this list in my head that somehow I was less than if I didn't do all these things. No.
Not at all. I don't think it means failure.
Yeah.
I think it's like honoring what once was,
Yeah.
recognizing that, oh, my life has changed. We can still, and going back to why we're still together, we're
Yeah.
honoring our traditions in a different way, and it's okay. When there's little kids, those are the things that are really important. Right
Mm.
now we don't have little kids in our lives at our
Yes.
homes, but a lot of our listeners do have little kids. They're going to decorate
Yeah. Well,
and
they have the
I
energy for it too. Or or go to a store and enjoy those decorations.
Yeah.
But I learned something. I just want to share this. There is a wonderful author, and her name's McQuillan Smith. She wrote the book The Cozy Minimalist. She's an interior designer. She's wonderful. And she talks about creating the scene using your five senses. And the last thing you should do is the visual, because that's where I go to with decorating, thinking I have to just take everything out and cover the whole house and say whatever season it is. But she would say, go outside and look at nature. So whatever the season is. So in the fall right now, it's a lot of colorful leaves. So you may want to have the kind of those autumn fall color items. But it's before you put anything in your house, kind of declutter, get rid of all the summer stuff, put that away. And then she says the next thing is think about the scents. Maybe you have a certain candle or some sort of floral arrangement that you want to have your house to smell like. The second thing is think about the foods you want to create, the soups, the stews, the breads, the salads, whatever it is it's part of that season. So it was talking about scents first, the taste, music. Do you want certain sounds to be
love it.
going on
Yeah.
like a playlist? And how things are going to feel. Like, do you want to have a cozy blanket or certain pillows out? But do all the other scents, and then you can put out some visuals. And I thought that was a huge aha moment for me. And I learned that all from McQuillan Smith. So,
I love that. I love
Mhm.
that. That reminds me, like we always listen to the Rat Pack Christmas,
Oh,
music, and we do. You have your
oh yeah.
go-tos also for holiday music, and
Yeah. But I thought that was really helpful to instead of thinking I've just got to throw everything out that I have visually,
Right.
start with what's it going to feel like? What's it going to smell like? What's it going to taste like? What are you going to listen to? And then some visuals.
that's really powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's good stuff. So I'll put her name in the show notes. And
For
so if anybody's
sure.
interested in hearing her great ideas.
So then also we love to look back on
Mm.
what we used to do. This has been so much fun this week going down memory lane with my kids. They reflected on so many different things that I forgot about. Elf
Yeah.
on the Shelf used to show up on December 1st. And every day I had to move Elf on the Shelf.
Oh my
And
gosh.
obviously we don't have that, but they really do believe in Elf on the Shelf.
You could bring it back, Kristine. You could do it.
What?
Our family missed that season.
Yeah, they were a little bit ahead of us, but one year I remember. So Elf on the Shelf flies back to the North Pole every night and tells Santa how the children are behaving. And one year, Nix accidentally bumped him,
Oh no.
and poor Nix was in puddles over it, puddles,
Aw.
weeping. So the elf, Finley was his name.
Oh,
We had to
cute.
write him a note, and no, I think Nix was so upset. Nix wrote a note to Finley saying how sorry he was. Finley came back with a note saying it was okay. He was forgiven. He knew it was an accident.
Oh, that's so sweet.
We had a lot of good memories around
Yeah.
something that we definitely don't do anymore.
Did you take photos of it at all, of Finley?
We have funny photos of where the elf used to appear. And,
Oh,
there's all kinds of fun things you could do with him. Like he can get into the kitchen and
yeah.
make mischief, open up the flour. And he was trying to make cookies and the flour goes everywhere. So
I,
definitely lots of photos,
I
all the
know.
memories.
For all those memories, I think about why we take all these photos. When the girls were little, I made baby albums. I don't know how I got them done, but I did. I just loved it. It was like my Zen moment to put together the creative memories photo albums.
Hmm.
But we pull those out every once in a while. And those, looking back on those, their early years is always such a fun little tradition, is looking back when you remember this dress you wore or this birthday party you had. It was really fun. So it is fun to look back on those memories
It's really, yeah.
fondly.
And to have conversations about it because it's like it lives inside of you, but then you don't really know what everyone else's perspective is until you talk about it.
One of the things is about maybe reevaluating some of your traditions is that maybe there's some things you naturally outgrow. I remember every year it was kind of like in our family, every year we go to the pumpkin patch until the one year they're looking at me, rolling their eyes. It was hot because we live in Southern California. It was probably early October and they wanted to be with their friends. They were late elementary, middle school, and the pumpkin patch just outgrew its joy.
Oh,
But when you kind of let go of some of those traditions, you get to actually create space for something new and something unexpected, simple and beautiful can happen.
so I have an actual really fun example that you just reminded me of, but I wasn't planning it. It just happened. So this year I'm working with a new associate teacher and talk about creating space to make new traditions together, bringing in your own gifts and what have you. So it was a rainy day. And actually, I was sort of channeling what you were talking about in a podcast that we talked about on gratitude, where, shifting your mindset
Mm.
to make turn something that could not be a positive situation into a very positive situation.
Oh, you
So it
mean
was
like
a
the rainy day when I'm like,
that's what I'm going to talk about. So it was a pouring down rainy day, and we turned our classroom into a fancy restaurant. So we told the students, when you come back, this is not going to be the kindergarten that you know. This is going to be Shea Kindergarten, a very fancy
Okay,
restaurant.
so what, back up. So why did they leave the classroom? Where were
So
they?
they were in physical education.
Okay,
So
so in PE.
they were gone. So that when they came back, it was lunchtime. We had printed out placemats with like fancy plates and utensils just on white paper. And we shut off all the lights and we put little electronic tea lights that we had
So
on the tables.
cute.
We had some pumpkins left over from Halloween, like little small ones. On the smartboard, we love the smartboard has a lot of options. We
Yeah.
put a picture of the Eiffel Tower with some like French bistro music going. And they walked in and it took their breath away.
Talk about
So,
unexpected.
yeah, it was completely unexpected, but it was so successful that I'm like, this is what we're doing on rainy days. However, we'll see how long this tradition will last.
Well, that's the thing. Like you do a tradition, like it was so unexpected for them yesterday. If we have a lot of rainy days this year, it might not work past day two, but you never know.
This is something I would like to continue to do.
So fun.
And perhaps it will become a tradition, and perhaps my students will tell their siblings, oh, when I was in kindergarten on rainy days, this is what we did.
I love it. I know you showed me the video and it was the cutest thing to see their little food items out on the placemat.
Yeah. And I tell them they can't put their lunchbox on the table because there's no lunchboxes in fancy restaurants. They have to take out their lunch and put it on their placemat, put their lunchbox under their chair. And they
Did you
just thought,
notice the conversation? Was it a
oh,
little
it
bit
was
different?
it really shifted. It was so they were so like sort of really engaged in what was happening, and they were enjoying that this was a fancy restaurant. They really believed that their classroom, they were talking, chatting away. It was quiet, but it was a dream.
It makes rainy days really fun days.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, great job. That's a cool story.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's go to our next section.
Let's do a speed round with each
Okay.
other. Have we done this before? I don't think we
No,
have.
not with each other. We always do it with our guests. So,
All right, let's
okay.
go.
All right. Okay.
Jenny, what's your favorite holiday food?
All of it.
Wow.
Um, um, I don't know. I always love a honey baked ham. I
Mm.
like scalloped potatoes. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. How about you? What's your favorite holiday food?
I love stuffing on Thanksgiving. I think it's the best thing
Oh,
ever. And I don't know why we only make it once a year, but
do you
we
put
do.
the stuffing in the bird
I
or?
don't.
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
it crispy. I like it crispy.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good. Very good. Okay. What's your favorite tradition in the classroom?
Oh, there's a really fun tradition that we have on Halloween. We
Uh-huh.
read the story Creepy Carrots,
Uh-huh.
and it's a story about this little bunny who is eating all the carrots, and then the carrots tried to scare him by showing up in funny places, and he decides to build a fence around all the carrots, and they're all really happy because he's not eating them anymore at the end of the story. So they win. So after we read the story, guess what happens in the classroom? Little creepy carrots start to appear. And they just appear in random places. And each day another one appears between October, beginning of October to Halloween. And by the end, there's creepy carrots all over the classroom, and it's so much fun.
Are they tacked to a wall or are
Yep,
they up on the
they're in little, they'll be like on the alphabet chart or on the schedule, and they're just like little creepy orange carrots with googly eyes, and they have the creepy faces that they do in the books.
I know when we've had that in my classroom, they're kind of like doing a double take. Like, did this just happen? And they kind of whisper to each other, and then it ripples across the kindergarten classroom.
They'll
Like,
be
there's
like, guys, did you see? Guys, oh, look at this. There's a creepy
another one.
guys.
There's another one. One of my favorite classroom traditions is when we invite families to come in and help us do pumpkin bread baking.
Oh, that's a great one.
We have a great recipe and it's so cozy. We do it in half groups. So half the class is with a specialist, half is in the classroom. We have the more the parents, the merrier. But we have tables set up with maybe one or two parents for 3 or 4 kids. And it's a recipe you make. It is delicious. We'll put that in our show notes as well because
It's one of the greatest recipes ever.
yes.
It's a no-fail recipe.
And all I can say is we make close to 30, 35 little mini loaves of pumpkin bread to take home for the holidays. But we make 30, 35 of those in an hour. And I'm always amazed that we get it all done, but we do. But it's so fun. And there's flour and salt and sugar and eggs and pumpkin can mix. And the room smells amazing. We're fortunate that we have ovens in our classroom that we can have them baked. And they're really fun to have. So
It's a
that's my
great
favorite.
one. I
Yeah.
love that one. What
Hmm.
about a new tradition? We've talked about a lot of traditions we've had. Do you have any new ones that you've started recently?
Well, here's a bonus of having adult children. They can help you do stuff and you don't have to monitor them. One of the traditions we have now is the girls and I will pick out 3 or 4 cookie recipes that we want to make. We get all the ingredients ahead of time. And it's the day after Thanksgiving. There's football games going on. We're starting to put out Christmas decorations, and we knock out those 3 or 4 Christmas cookies. We're all helping each other. We're baking, we're stirring, we're putting them in the oven, cooling them on the racks. And it takes us 4 to 5 hours to get it all done, package them up, put them in the freezer, and we're done with holiday baking. It's done
Uh,
the day after Thanksgiving. And it's fun to do because we're all together. And so that's what we've been doing. Now, will that happen every year? I don't know. But it started now and it's going to continue this year and it might change next year, but it's really fun right now.
it sounds good to me.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, I feel like mine's similar in that my family's not here and my immediate family's here, my extended family, my parents and what have you are not here.
Mhm.
So for our Christmas Eve dinner, we have joined with another family, and just so happens the family we joined with they're phenomenal cooks. So it's also taken the burden off me. Like you said, you are now cooking Christmas cookies with your kids. I'm sharing the burden. I mean, I say burden. It's not a burden, but I'm sharing.
When it takes energy, let's just say.
Yeah,
It's
because it's a responsibility, right? So I'm sharing in the experience with another family, and it's so fun because it's the more the merrier.
the more the merrier. And to be with other fellow cooks that enjoy it just as much as you.
So
That's
fun.
great.
Oh, Jenny, this has been great.
You know
Covered
what?
a lot of ground.
I'm going to say this. When we were talking before we started recording, we were kind of like, oh, the holidays and traditions. Now that we've unpacked it, I'm really excited about our holidays and traditions.
I feel good. And speaking of, like, our birthdays are this week also.
I know.
2 days apart, so that's also fun. We'll talk about what we did after we did it because
Okay.
I don't know what's happening yet.
I don't know
But
what's happening either.
what is your big little lesson, Jenny, today?
Oh, I'm going to say, well, first of all, I'm feeling much better about the holidays and traditions. And I would say my big little lesson is that they anchor us. They anchor us, but they can also free us. We have the choices. So I'm going to be simplifying as much as that I want to and not feel guilty about redefining those traditions. Just say, this is where we are right now. I really believe if there's some shortcuts to take and allow yourself to slow down and really absorb and have a good time, that's my big little lesson. How about you?
Well, I'm with you on all that. I love, as we enter into this time, the shared sense of belonging, like the importance. It is really important to have traditions,
Yes.
right? And that's, even though they can be stressful, they really are, at the end of the day, something that's so important to all of us, no matter what age we are. And I think as your kids grow, they're memories that they will hold on to for their whole life. So providing traditions for small children, changing them as they grow, making them matter, and making them work for you. And I'm excited to
You know what it
see
sounded like?
what?
It sounded like you're saying, and make your children work for you.
Oh, as they grow, not work. Well, that too. But
I know
I'm
what you mean.
excited. I'm excited to see the traditions that my own children create as
Mm.
they become, they're young adults now. Yours are young adults, and what traditions will they make that are different than the traditions we made for them?
Oh,
So
that's such a good point. I didn't think about that. That's true. They're going to be growing and changing,
exactly. So
and we'll go over to their house and say, "What do you have? What do you have planned for us?"
and then I'll say, this is not the way it's supposed to be. No.
Yeah,
just-
yeah. Like, we need grandma's recipe. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Exactly. So do
Well,
we have some optional homework? I think
yes,
we do.
we do. So before we wrap up, we'd love to leave you with a moment to pause and reflect.
So if you have a journal, perhaps grab that. A cup of tea is nice, or a nice quiet walk, and think about this.
There's 3 questions. Ready? What is one tradition that you love? What is one
What
tradition
is-
you love?
What is one tradition that you would like to lose?
That's a good one. And finally, what is one tradition that you long for? Something you haven't done that you would love to.
So these questions could be great dinner table conversations also, like asking the people in your family, a way to connect generations and hear stories that could get lost otherwise.
Right? Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that this conversation helps you pause and reflect on your own traditions, the ones you want to keep and the ones you're ready to release.
And maybe even inspires you to start something new, something simple but heartfelt.
Yes. So if you've enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend or family member who's starting their own traditions this year.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Teach Big Little Lessons for more reflections, behind the scenes stories, and a sprinkle of classroom joy.
All right. Until next time, may your holidays be filled with meaning, laughter, and connection.
Happy holidays from Big Little Lessons.